Just when you think the news for the future of the DC universe can't get any crazier, James Gunn himself just said, you know what, he got FOMO for you. Cause not only did he just tease a potential crossover between Marvel and DC, but he gave us some insane reveals and updates about the Batman Part 2, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, the future of in the DC universe, details on what he wants from his version of Batman and Wonder Woman, and so much more. And I'm letting you know right now, some of this news really might shock you. And either way, me and you know what we gotta do, we gotta talk about it. So like a Randy Orton RKO out of nowhere, James Gunn just decided to not just try to manufacture some aura, but the head honcho of DC Studios himself did an entire tell-all interview with Rolling Stone about the future of the DC universe, where he revealed, teased, and shut down a lot of very interesting things. And one of the biggest things he talked about was a potential crossover with Marvel Studios and DC Studios. Just listen to what James Gunn had to say in this quote. That could easily happen, but simultaneously to that, I think it would be interesting, but I also think people are a little over it. I think people want to see good stories with their superheroes, and that's really what matters. They need more variety, and they need just more quality storytelling, and just having Spider-Man and Superman team up isn't gonna do it if it's shit. So it's got to come from a real place, and it's really hard to make that work. And speaking more specifically on a potential crossover between Spider-Man and Superman, James Gunn said, if we ever did that, it would have to be under someone who thought that story would be awesome, and not just a cash grab, because I'm really just not into that. Now, to level set here and give you my thoughts and opinions on a potential DC and Marvel crossover, while it is highly unlikely and the stars would have to align to make it perfect and like actually make it a good movie, it's not like this is something that just came up out of thin air. Marvel and DC have crossed over plenty of times in different mediums, but more specifically in comics. You've had the Punisher and Batman going at it, you've had Spider-Man and Superman going at it, etc., etc. And me being a big fan of both Marvel and DC, my brain can't help but geek out over the fact that we could potentially see a Moon Knight and Batman crossover, a Superman and Sentry crossover, schizophrenic Superman and mentally unstable Batman. You want to fix those issues, these are the guys that do it. But now more so than ever, it feels like it could be a real possibility because Marvel and DC have actually brought back the crossover comics, starting with Batman and Deadpool, which is set to release sometime this summer. And it's also the fact that Kevin Feige and James Gunn are still really good friends. They have a very strong working relationship despite all the shit that happened in the past. And again, this isn't their decision to make. Now, obviously, they would have to agree to do it, but these are decisions that are above their pay grade. This would have to come from Bob Iger and David Zaslav, respectively, from Warner Bros. Discovery and Disney. But I mean, a 50-50 split sounds kind of reasonable. But again, it is highly unlikely and wishful thinking, but where there's smoke, there might be fire. At the very least, I could see them doing an animated film, an animated series, or a video game. Give us a Marvel versus DC Mortal Kombat style. Simple, quick, easy. But moving on to news for the Batman Part 2, James Gunn continues to reiterate, it's not canceled. They currently don't have a script. Matt's slow. Let him take his time. Let him do what he's doing. God, people are so mean. Let him do his thing, man. And I couldn't agree more because anything worth having is worth waiting for. Of course, James Gunn, of all people, understands keeping a creator's vision true. Give Matt all the time he needs, especially considering there are rumors that he is going through something in his personal life. I really hope we get that trilogy because for my own selfish reasons, I really want Robert Pattinson's Batman in the second film to say, I'm the Knight, and in the third film to fully embrace himself as I'm Batman. His entire trilogy is the classic Kevin Conroy quote, I am vengeance, I am the Knight, I am Batman. I am so sorry for that, Kevin Conroy. Rest in peace, Goat. James Gunn also revealed that he did recently cancel a DC film because he didn't think it was good enough. But it wasn't the Batman. And like Kanye said, I guess we'll never know what movie this is. Sticking on the theme of Batman, James Gunn actually provided a lot of very interesting details into what his vision of Batman will be like in his DC Studios universe. James Gunn reiterated that Batman is DC's main priority. James Gunn also confirmed that he is not currently writing the Batman film, which is still currently called Brave and the Bold, but we'll see about that. But he is working closely with the writer to ensure it's executed right. Also reiterated he doesn't want to make a film simply because it's Warner Brothers' biggest character, but because there's a need for him in the DC universe. I love hearing that. He also provided some nuance by saying he's not exactly the same as Reeves' Batman, but he's not super campy. If I had to guess, his version of Batman will pretty much just be Batfleck, but without the killing. Despite me still loving the grounded and realism takes on Batman in Christopher Nolan's universe and Matt Reeves' universe, I need my Batman to be moving like Arkham Batman. I need him putting the fear of God into these criminals. I need this motherfucker to be moving around like people think he's an entity, like he ain't even human. They don't even want to speak his name like Voldemort. And give him the long cape so he looks like a bat for real. Inhale that aura. As for who should play this version of Batman, I've seen all the fan casts, Jensen Ackles, Alan Ritchson. All of that shit does not matter until we nail down what version of Batman we want. Will the DCU's version of Batman lean slightly younger or slightly older? I'm probably leaning somewhere in between. Because mind you, we are led to believe that this film is still titled Batman Brave and the Bold. They already said that it's going to introduce Damian Wayne, so that likely means there's other members of the Bat family out there, so this Batman's got to be a little older. maybe almost 40. And quick side note on casting with ages, I think it's stupid as fuck because we really got Robert Pattinson playing a year 2 Batman and this man is almost 40. But you wouldn't have known that unless you Google his fucking age. That shit don't matter. To a certain extent, because again, you don't want to cast Michael Keaton as a new Batman. Also, is Andy Muschietti even still attached to direct this damn movie? By the way, stop using this image of Brave and the Bold. This is not Batman, this is Dick Grayson. Either way, only time will tell. But until you officially confirm and announce a new Batman for the DC Universe, people are still going to be clamoring for Robert Pattinson and David Cornswell as Superman to be the new world's finest. I'll go hold you, the more side-by-side images I see of them together, it could work. Inhale that aura. Look at these emitters of aura. Cape flown in a wind. Oh, to everyone who says it wouldn't work. It's quite literally what makes it so interesting is the fact that Superman's world is so different from Batman's world. So it's already a perfect juxtaposition between the two characters. But on top of prioritizing Batman, James Gunn also revealed they're prioritizing a Wonder Woman script too. And he damn well should be because this is DC's Trinity right here. I need them to nail this dynamic. These are your basic pillars of the DC universe, so you gotta nail them. And as for who should play Wonder Woman, again, I'm not a big fan of fan cast, but I've got 3 I really like: Meg Kalamaui, Adria Arjona, and Charlie Frazier. I think any of those 3 would be solid. James Gunn also provided an update on Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, which in case you don't know for some reason, it's the next movie after Superman for the DC Universe. Millie Alcock is our new Supergirl, and Jason Momoa will be making his debut as Lobo in this film. But on top of that, they've changed the title from Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow to just Supergirl, similar to when they changed Superman Legacy to just Superman. That's why I keep saying Batman Brave and the Bold, sure. I don't think y'all realize just how much potential this film has, because if you've read Tom King's Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, it's an incredible story. You're gonna get more crypto, we're gonna get intergalactic with this shit, and this gonna be a banger, trust. And while Lobo wasn't originally in the Woman of Tomorrow comic, I still hope they adapt this moment between Lobo and Kara, because it's just a really funny moment to get them introduced to each other. Finally, ending with a couple of quotes for Superman and Lex Luthor. James Gunn has something very interesting to say about the perception of his Superman and how he wanted people to perceive him, saying he didn't want a Superman who could punch planets. I wanted Superman to be vulnerable. I see the online things, who would beat whom, Homelander or Superman or fucking whatever, Adam Warlock or Brightburn, and I'm like, this is the fucking stupidest fucking conversation. Like, so then whoever would win this fight means that they're the best, because I'll just go out and write God-Man and he can destroy you with a wink, and I win. I win all the fights forever. I'm not gonna hold you, James Gunn fucking cook there. Because while I do think power scaling conversations and 1v1 fights between characters at times is interesting, discourse around these scenarios is super toxic. And last but not least, here's what James Gunn had to say on his Lex Luthor and Superman. Lex looks at Superman like artists look at AI. He is the world's greatest man in so many ways. He's done these unparalleled things, and then you got a guy who comes in who's done nothing to deserve the ability to fly and to smash down buildings, and he's also extraordinarily handsome too. And all of a sudden, that's all the world is talking about. And that sort of obsession with being replaced, with your gifts not being seen or passed over, I think is what drives Lex. Say no more, James Gunn understands it. Lex Luthor is not just the biggest hater, he's one of the biggest narcissists. And he's also probably mad that Superman got a full head of hair with a nice little curl. But anyway, that's all the new news we got about the future of the DC Universe. My thoughts, opinions, and theories. Let me know what you thought about all that news, my thoughts, opinions. If you have thoughts and opinions, drop a comment down below. And as always, make sure you like and follow for more. And as always, if you want to check out some new videos on the channel, we got updates on Marvel, DC, theories, fun videos on shorts. Make sure you check that all out. And if nobody told you this today, you matter. I love you. Hope you're having a good day. Everything's going to be okay. And can't wait to see you guys in the next one. Take care. Peace.